Hi vlog, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to a little birthday party for one of my close friends, and we're going to Little Frankie's, which is a little Italian place in the East Village. I have like 1 hour to get ready, so I'm not gonna do anything too crazy, just some kind of chill makeup, but I've noticed that a lot of people have been enjoying my how to apartment hunting videos in New York. So I thought I'd just do a video just more about kind of like how to find an apartment, where to even look. I moved from Southern California to New York City, and I've actually moved cross country twice to New York City. The first time I moved here, I think was in like 2023, beginning of 2023, and then I left that same year. And then I moved again last year in 2024. So in 2 different apartments. So I feel like I know a little bit about how to find an apartment in Manhattan, especially when you're not from here and you don't have anybody really kind of like helping you find an apartment. So I thought I'd just go over how to kind of look and like decisions you should be making before even deciding to come to New York City. So one thing I will say is that before even deciding to live in New York, one thing I would recommend you doing is spending like a month here, finding like an Airbnb or staying like a couple weeks with a friend, or there are like hotels here too that do like monthly stays that you could kind of come and just explore the city a little bit more, figure out if this is really what you want to do and where you want to move, because moving is very expensive, especially when you're moving cross country. So really knowing that this is what you want to do before coming here, and then also to exploring the city a little bit more, finding what works for you, finding what place you want to live is super, super important. So that's one thing I would recommend, is just finding a place to kind of stay and explore the city a little bit more to kind of get a feel. So when I came here, I was engaged the first time, and the second time I was married. So I came here with my partner, with my husband, and it made it a lot easier, but it also made it a lot easier because we automatically knew, and we're like out of college, like we're not college students. We both have corporate jobs, but it made it a lot easier to decide where we wanted to live because, like, for example, like Lower East Side, Greenwich Village, those type of places that are a little bit more younger, college students, a lot of people in their early 20s to middle age 20s. So whenever we go down there, we love to go to all the shops, the restaurants, things like that. But for me, it's just a tad bit too young. And the reason why I say that is because the nightlife there is a little louder than I would like to be, and a lot of the apartments there are just a little bit more college vibey, college feeling. So not something I would recommend if you're like a newlywed and you're, in your 30s, just because again, it's not as clean. It's very collegey. People are out drinking all night. You can kind of feel the vibe when you get there. They do have really good restaurants, really good shops. But again, if you are that age, it may be a really good area for you to be in. And yeah, that's something I would recommend. Right now we're in the Upper East Side, so I kind of like that it's like a little bit more family, a little bit calm. It still has like a bunch of bars and restaurants and fun things like opening up every weekend. But it also is very just more settled, I guess I would say. Like you'll see during the weekday more families walking around with strollers. You'll see also like a little younger people too, but like younger people that are more in their late 20s, early 30s, going to like bars and restaurants down here. So I feel like the Upper East Side has a really good mix. I feel like the Upper West Side too, but the Upper West Side is very more, I would say even heavy, more on the family side. So one thing I would recommend is to truly just kind of explore and, kind of get to know the areas that you are considering living, and go there during the day, go there at night, look at the different shops, see how much restaurants are. Obviously restaurants are going to be cheaper in certain areas than they are in others. So just kind of feel a vibe and see if that's like really what you want to do. Talk to people when you're there. That definitely always helps when you talk to people, and they'll tell you a little bit more about the neighborhood, what it's like, A lot of times people are living here, they've lived here for a long time, or they've lived here for a couple years and they can kind of give you advice. So definitely be open to that too. So yeah, that's one of the things I would recommend doing, is spending some time here before you actually make that decision. I took some notes, so I want to make sure I go over all of this. Okay, second thing I would say is make sure before you even start looking, before you even move here, before you even are on Street Easy, get all your paperwork in order. Paperwork is so freaking important. And the reason why I say that is because when you are looking for apartments in New York, they do not move in the same time frame as other places do. Like I said, I grew up in Orange County, so a little bit more suburban, but still has like that LA vibe to it, to where, you know, people are looking for apartments at any point in time. But with that being said, having your paperwork ready is so important, because when you go and look for these apartments, that's the first thing they ask you. They ask you for all those documents, and a lot of times some landlords are like first come, first serve. You have to have all your stuff ready the moment that they send you the application, because like once they send the application, it's the first one who submits it and qualifies typically gets it. That's a traditional way, and that's how they should be doing it. I know some landlords don't do that, and they'll just evaluate all of the applications before getting it. But this apartment that I currently have, and the rent stabilized apartment that I had previously, it was first come, first serve. We were the first one to see it, first one to get the application, and submitted it literally an hour before. Like when we were going to look at apartments, we had our like laptop with us, and then we went to a coffee shop and just submitted the application like right there. So time is really important, and what saves you time is having all of your documents on your laptop. They're ready to go for when you to upload it and send it as a part of your application. So what are some things that they're going to be asking for? Photocopies of your ID, employment letter showing that you make 40 times the rent. If you don't make 40 times the rent, they'll ask for a guarantor letter. So, you know, essentially like a third party that will vouch for you. And then your tax returns, at least 2 years of tax returns, last 2 or 3 bank statements. They'll ask for 2-3 pay stubs. And then sometimes they'll ask you for your previous landlord email, but like we lived in a house and it was like my family's house and I grew up there, so I didn't provide that. That wasn't something that I genuinely needed. So didn't submit that with it. But yes, having all of those documents is so important to make sure that you are the first one to get this apartment. Okay, next one I would say is staying below your budget. Now, for example, if you make, let's say 150,000, say if you make 50,000 and your budget or max that you can do is like $3,000 for an apartment, I would highly recommend that you don't go all the way up to 3,000. The reason, just because you qualify, same thing with buying a house. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you are going to be exploring the city so much. You are going to be wanting to go to restaurants, shops, places, movies, ballets, Broadway shows. Like there's just like so much to do in the city. So if you kind of blow all of your money on your rent, you're really just not going to be able to enjoy the city. And that's the whole reason why you're moving to New York, is so that you can enjoy the city. But a lot of the times people just see like, oh, well, I can afford $3,000 a month. That's what they say, so I'm going to do that. But then when you do that, you end up kind of being like a slave to your rent, and you can't really get to explore the city as much. Now, when I came into it, I had mine and my husband's income. So like, obviously we're in a better situation to look for apartments. I know some people have like roommates and everything. They're looking for roommates. If you want me to make another video about how to find like roommates or just find a room, let me know. I can do a separate video on that, because I also looked into moving to New York by myself before I got married. I just never committed to it. And I can talk about like how you could look for jobs and things of that sort. So with that being said, really know that this is what you want to do and this is where you want to live, and you know, find an apartment that will sustain your lifestyle, you know. And then also too, another thing I would recommend, since we're talking about like being below budget, is figure out your budget and how much you spend on things before you get here, because take that into consideration with what you can qualify. Because if you are going way above your means and you do your budget after you find an apartment, you're going to be kind of screwed because you're stuck on that lease for 1 year. So really, you know, kind of figure out what your budget is, what your monthly payments are, if you have any debt, include all of those, and then decide on what you should be paying in rent. So that's something I definitely recommend. Make sure that you have first and last month. So recently, in the beginning of this year, in July, I believe, they got rid of the broker's fees. So essentially, the landlord should be the one paying the brokerage fee if they are the ones listing the property. If you decide to use your own broker, you would have to obviously pay for it out of pocket, but previously you would have to pay somebody to literally open the door for you. For this apartment, it cost us $5,000. My last apartment, same exact thing. It cost $5,000 for somebody literally to turn the key, open it, and send me an application. I give them $5,000. Ridiculous. But they got away with that rule, and if the apartment is good and the landlord is good, they do not charge. And they shouldn't be charging you, and if they are, that's honestly a red flag, and I don't know if I'd want to be at that apartment. But yes, so they got rid of broker's fees, so you typically should only have to submit your first month's, last month's, and that's pretty much it. And then sometimes they'll have like your first month's rent is, or they'll give you first month's rent and 1 month of security deposit, excuse me. So it would be those two. And yeah, so if somebody tells you, oh, you have to pay like a broker's fee or there's like additional fees and all these things, just be kind of weary of it, because not outside of the application fee, because application fees are typically $20. But if they're asking for like all of these fees, if it's not a co-op or condo building, then you should just be a little bit weary and figure out why they're asking you that, because that says a lot about the landlord. And then next thing I will say is that you do not need a broker. A lot of times people think that you need to have somebody help you find an apartment, when in reality, you really don't. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I found both of my apartments on my own without a broker. But the reason why I'm saying that is because it's not like other states where the agents have an MLS, which MLS is like you need to be a licensed real estate agent in order to see additional properties. It's not like Zillow. For example, here, StreetEasy, the agents can see everything and any random person can see anything. So when you're hiring a broker, you're just asking them to look on StreetEasy, which you could literally do the same thing. And why pay thousands of dollars when you could literally be looking on it yourself? So that's why like I'm not a big advocate for when you are looking for a rental. Maybe for homes it's a little bit different, but when you're looking for a rental, you really don't need a broker to help you find a rental. So, and also too, another thing is that like, if you're serious about moving to New York, you should be looking at StreetEasy every single day. I was studying StreetEasy. I was religious about looking every single morning. When I woke up in the morning, I would look in the morning. I would track the data of like when I would see apartments come onto the market. I saw most come during the like beginning of the month. So I would just start to become very familiar with StreetEasy and check that every single day, because good apartments will be there for one day and then they'll be gone the next day. So it's really difficult to find. All the good ones will be gone fairly quickly. So you have to just move very fast. And there are a lot of apartments on there that, you know, will be there one day, but then they're gone the next. So you got to be on top of it. Another thing I would say is, don't ever under any circumstances rent an apartment in New York City without having to go see it first. These listings that people post are so catfish. It's insane. They're using 0.5 zoom. Everything looks bigger. They're making it seem like it's so wide and bright. They'll go during the times that the 5 minutes the sun hits the apartments and be like, oh, it's sun filled and it's this and it's that. You don't know that until you go see it. A lot of these apartments are so, like I'm saying, catfish, that they'll say anything and do anything to get you through the door. And if you don't see it, it's a really big problem. So highly recommend get yourself, you know, to New York, look at these apartments, stay in an Airbnb, look at these apartments, and really decide where you want to live. Because man, if you, or just pay somebody to go look apartments. Pay me, I'll go look at the apartment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can pay somebody like 10, 15 bucks, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 50 bucks to go see an apartment for you. You know what I mean? And that would be significantly better for you in the long run, because you don't have to deal with, you know, getting catfished by an apartment. Because that, unfortunately to say this, it happens so much, because some of these apartments, my God, are terrifying. Dark, dingy. I've seen apartments that the floor's like this. Literally. Like, you can't stay in the living room with, like, if I dropped a ball, it would roll down. Like, it is crazy that these apartments. Also, too, you want to look at the buildings, too. You know, you want to see the neighborhood. You want to see the surroundings. You want to see if there's a shopping center or a laundromat or bars and restaurants for you to go to. So definitely do not look for apartments online and just give somebody first and last months and like never see it. Sure, you'll find the stories online where people find like really great apartments, but in reality, they're few and far between, and I would just never chance myself. If you want to, go ahead. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I would just recommend not doing that, because then you leave yourself vulnerable to being in an apartment that you're stuck in for 1 year and you're like miserable, and the floor is creaky, the people below you smoking, it smells like cigarettes. Like, there's just so much that can go wrong, and you don't want to be stuck in a situation to where you have to do that. So that's something I definitely recommend. But yeah, that's kind of my quick little overview. I do want to make another part to this video that just kind of talks about, you know, once you are in the apartment looking phase, what to look for to see if an apartment is good. So I'll post another video about that. Let me know if you guys want that, and then we can go from there. But let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions or need any help with anything, or enjoyed this video, and then give it a like and a thumbs up, because it definitely helps me. So thank you guys.